So last night, ABC News ran a report that was focusing on the great lengths to which the manufacturers in the food industry are going to hide price increases from their customers. Now, why would they do something like that? I mean, don't they understand, according to Paul Krugman and everybody else, Nouriel Roubini, and now all the central bankers, that these companies are making their customers suffer needlessly? I mean, after all, you have these people going to the supermarket and thinking that prices aren't going up. They're thinking the price is the same. How should they be forced to endure that? Every time they go to the store and they have to look at the price and it hasn't gone up, it's got to ruin their day. What they need is inflation. Now, they're actually getting inflation, but they don't even know, right? The company is hiding the good news, so they're suffering needlessly. If these companies would only advertise the price increases, then their customers would get the full benefit of the higher prices because they would also feel good about it, right? They would be happy. We'd have a stronger economy if the consumers only knew that they were paying more. And of course, I'm being facetious, but because I understand that consumers want low prices. And apparently, the food companies also understand what the economists don't know. Their customers don't want to pay higher prices. And when they have to raise prices, they want to do it in the way that's the least transparent. They don't want their customers knowing that the prices have been raised because they don't want to piss them off, right? That's the reality. Maybe Paul Krugman, is happy to pay higher prices, but just about everybody else is happier not to. But let's listen to some of this coverage. Here is the first cut from ABC News. It's cut number 11.
Just as the appetites of Kristen Quinn's children are starting to grow.
So let's get one apple?
Yes, perfect. She's finding less product for the old price.
This is just not something that would ever come on my radar.
Edgar Dworsky at Consumer World
Well, hello there.
has spent his career tracking products and shrinking packaging.
Take a look.
So this is the new, and this is the old.
Take a look at these two boxes of crackers. What you may not have noticed, the new package has 20 fewer crackers.
And you have to go back to the store.
And how about these juice boxes? Guess what? Identical prices, but the new one, 10% less juice.
Yep. All that is inflation. When you reduce the packaging, consumers end up paying more because you got to buy more packages, right? If you take toilet paper and you take, 10% of the paper out of the roll and you leave the price the same, the consumer's not saving money. I mean, assuming they don't change their habits and they use the same amount of toilet paper, when the rolls are smaller, they just have to buy more rolls. So, instead of buying 10 rolls, over a given time period, they have to buy 11 over the same time period. So they're paying 10% more. They just have to take home more rolls. But why are the companies going to the trouble of, reboxing everything, changing the sizes? I mean, it's kind of expensive to cover up your price increases. The easiest thing to do is just raise your price, right? But they don't want to do that. They just reduce the quality. This has been going on for years. Over the weekend, I played Monopoly with my wife and my kid, my older son. And one of the things I noticed about the Monopoly board was the deeds for the properties. Because when I used to play Monopoly as a kid, right, and, you land on a property, right, you land in Marvin Gardens, Park Place, whatever, you get a deed that shows that you own it, and it would tell you, how much it costs to build houses and hotels, what the rent is, how much you could mortgage the property for. And, the deeds used to be made of cardboard, and they were big and thick. They were substantial, right? Now, the deeds are these little flimsy pieces of paper. They have no real structure to them. They're about the same as the chance in the community chest cards. Why did they do that? Because they wanted to cut down the cost. They can't afford to put real cardboard in there, and so they make it cheaper. Quality is going down with everything, yet the government has the nerve to always say, well, hedonics, right? Oh, yeah, we're going to say that prices are going down because the quality is going up. It's not always going up. In many cases, it's going down. I think in more cases, the quality is going down. The material quality is going down. The workmanship is going down. Companies are cutting corners all over the place in order to save money to avoid price increases. And I don't think any of that really gets captured by the government in the CPI. Here's a little bit more of this story, cut number 12.
And it's not just food.
Yes, you go through a lot of these.
Yes. All day long.
This large pack of Pampers used to hold 100 diapers. Now it's shrunk to 92, even though it's still $26 a pack. So Kristen will be spending $200 more on diapers before her baby's potty trained. And look what's flushing away right before our eyes.
Ladies, you can't squeeze the Charmin.
Dworsky says there's 70% less to squeeze now than 20 years ago. And remember Kristen's favorite brand?
The old width is 4 1/4 inches. The new width is less than 4.
70-cent reduction in the size of a roll of Charmin toilet paper. Yeah, you can't squeeze a Charmin. There's nothing left to squeeze. I mean, pretty soon they're going to be selling toilet paper by the sheet. It's going to be individually wrapped, and it's going to cost the same price. So you're going to have to go to the store. Yeah, I'll take a couple of hundred packages of toilet paper, right? I mean, this is ridiculous. Are they going to sell bread by the slice? Not a whole loaf. You're just going to buy it in an individual slice, and it's going to cost the same as an whole loaf of bread. I mean, if they take the diapers down from 100 diapers to 92 diapers, that's 8% fewer diapers. I mean, if they do that every year, I mean, that's 8%. I mean, that's a big increase in price. Look, this is going on with everything. Everything. Companies, again, and how much extra do they have to spend? What really bothers me, too, is, when you get this big, big box, because they gradually start putting, less cereal in the box, right? Or they put, fewer potato chips in the bag. But the box is still the same size. The bag is still the same size. And so you get this huge box and you open it up and then, halfway, the cereal doesn't even start until you're halfway down or 3/4 of the way down. I mean, I remember when I was a kid and we used to buy cereal, my mom would take us to the market. And, of course, I wanted the cereal that had the prize in it. That's all I cared about. I didn't care what the cereal was. I shopped based on the prize inside. And so we would have to take, as soon as we got home from the market, my mom would have to open up the box of cereal and dump it into bowls so I can get that prize because I wanted it. I couldn't wait until it just fell out when I was having a bowl of cereal. I had to have that prize right away. I wanted the toy. And I remember that those boxes were filled to the brim. The cereal went all the way to the top of those. Now, again, you open it up and it's, halfway down, 3/4 of the way down. Why don't they just give us a tiny box? Because they don't want us to know how we're getting ripped off with these higher prices because they know that consumers don't like higher prices. See, they know what Nobel Prize winning economists don't know. Anyway, let us continue with this. The next cut is going to be number 13.
Another thing you may not notice at the grocery store. They're older, bigger bags right next to the new, smaller versions.
What's the difference between these two?
The new one, almost 2 ounces less.
So do some checking before you hit the checkout.
Well, I mean, what's the point? I mean, you could check. I mean, the prices are higher. You got to pay it, right? But yeah, I mean, people, you got to look at the unit price. I mean, that's the price that counts, right? What am I paying, per unit of cookies, or how many cookies or how many grams am I getting in here? But most people don't look at the unit price. They just look at the box, and if the box is the same price as what they're used to paying, they just assume that they're getting the same amount. I mean, again, it's really like counterfeiting, right? I mean, that's how the government counterfeits money. When they create inflation, they print more money, so money is losing value, but people don't notice that it's losing value because it looks the same. Well, that's the same thing. There's inflation here. They are debasing the amount of product in their packaging, but they keep the packaging the same. So you're getting the same product, but it's really not the same value. That's the same thing with money. As the Federal Reserve creates new money, you earn money, you get the same dollars, but they're not really the same. They look the same, but they don't spend the same. They don't have the same value. So these boxes, maybe they look the same, but they're not because you're getting less. Here's the last clip from this report that we have, cut number 14.
Now, we reached out to the manufacturers who told us when their costs rise, they sometimes adjust the amount of products in the packages. And remember those cookies? Well, here they are. Hard to tell on the surface which one is the bigger package, which one is the smaller one. This is the smaller package. It's the newer one. 6 fewer cookies. The net weight is where you find that answer.
So you have to become an expert on the weight, on the ounces. Oh.
You don't have to become an expert. You just have to look at the side of the package and you can see what the prices are. But yeah, 6 fewer cookies. Now, I'm not sure what percentage that is. I mean, if there's 100 cookies in the box, and there's probably not even that much, but if there were 100 cookies in the box and they took 6 out, that would be a 6% increase. Right? And so maybe there's not even that many. Maybe it's a bigger increase than that. But when he says the manufacturers, when their cost rises, they adjust the packaging. Why? Wouldn't it be so much easier just to raise the price? Just leave the packages the same. Just put a bigger number on the package. You know, the reason they go to such lengths to deceive their customers is because they know that their customers might be angered by the higher price, that the higher price might cause them to not to buy the product or to buy less of the product. But, of course, the economists are telling us that these manufacturers don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand the marketplace. They don't understand their customers, because what their customers really want are those higher prices. They're waiting for those higher prices. And if they don't get higher prices, they suffer. They have to endure price stability. And so what we need is the government to make sure that prices go up, to end the pain, to end the suffering, to make sure that the cost of living keeps going up and we can keep enjoying the rising cost of living and, in fact, suffering a falling standard of living. But apparently we like that. You know, we're a country, we're a world of masochists. What we really like is pain. And so what we need is a government and the central bank to give us what we want, which is pain every time we go to the checkout stand or the gas pump, higher prices.